Hi everybody, Studio One, just to prove I'm not the wimp that everybody says I am. Not much. Right, another Friday, glad you could join me. I'll start this week on a personal note. My granddaughter got married quite recently, so we met her new in-laws. What a super family, she's so lucky. They're very nice people, I have to say, and would you believe it, some of them watch this channel. Amazing. So good morning to the Story family, lovely to meet you all. Right, let's get on with it then, start work. Malcolm Richardson, this is commenting on the last vlog in which we, the glass is reflecting bad, aren't we? Oh God. Oh well. Right, the last vlog that we did as the film club was on a walk to Padstow, Cornwall, looking at the military defences on the way out. Seemed to go down reasonably well. Malcolm Richardson says an ideal walk taking in the panoramic cliff-top pass, historical relics, beautiful sandy coves and imposing rocky outcrops. This was a delightful video. He said, guaranteed to make anyone put on their walking boots and hit the trail. If that's right, I'm absolutely over the moon. If I could, one of my videos prompts people to strap on a pair of walking boots, get out there and do some walking, brilliant, and you'll benefit from it without any doubt whatsoever. Michael from Poland says, I hope the Parkinsons family are aware of your other channel, Just Cornwall. Yeah, I do have another channel, but I have to say I don't do much work on it, and I haven't uploaded to it for, well, months and months and months, I think. But yeah, I do have another channel. He said, I hope your health is not keeping you indoors. Excuse me. The weather isn't that good, and this may be the reason you are not out and about. I reckon to go filming you need an absolute minimum of 2 consecutive dry days. First one to try and dry the mud out just a little bit, and then the second one to go filming in the dry. And you know, we haven't had 2 consecutive days since, well, go back quite a long time. I have to admire people like Paul from West Country Wandering. I mean, he's always out there. It gets a little bit wet now, a little bit damp around the edges. Right, Charles Patterson. Our Charles. Yes. All the way from New York, isn't it, Charles? It looks like you had to endure quite a bit. We saw cold, blustery winds, hordes of gnats, and the ups and downs of the hillside. Thank you for bringing that view into my temperature-controlled, dry and bug-free house. Doesn't make me feel any better, Charles. But now, we're into the memories section here. Pete Payne. Thanks for sending this in, Pete. That's brilliant. Both Mum and Dad were living in the Constantine, Morton Smith area during the war, Cornwall, of course, and witnessed all sorts of military goings on, including the bombing of Falmouth and the build-up for D-Day. Wow. Dad used to like to show us the huge gun emplacement at Pendennis Castle and all the bits and bobs on the Halford River where he roamed as a young lad. Ah, lovely talk. He's always out in his boat and up to no good, no doubt. You can't do that. Poor Dad. Mum is going to be 97 next week and still as sharp as a razor. Oh, Mum, you'd have had your birthday now. A belated happy birthday to you. Keep it up, good girl. James Weeks, our James, Canada, who lives with the lovely Sumac, who is our channel mascot. Morning, Sumac. Now, I get blamed for lots of things, but I'm being blamed for pizzas now. James says, I put a frozen pizza in the oven for lunch and went out to the garage with Sumac to watch this week's vlog and film. Yes, the TV's still in the garage. Long story. It would involve James having to spend some money somewhere, you can bet your life. Anyway, I was watching you go up that narrow stairway between 2 buildings in your film, wondering what all the doors off to the side led to, and I suddenly thought, oh my God, my pizza. I am now enjoying, inverted commas, I am now enjoying a very well baked charred disc. My bad, James, my bad. I think this week's film is going to be a bit of a long one, so don't put your pizza in the oven. Just wait. Abandoned railways, that Ron. He says he hasn't posted for a while because he's waiting on information update relating to the next video. That's typical Ron. He doesn't just go through books or things to get his info. He actually contacts people and does all sorts of things. Yeah, very good. That video is now out there and it involves Ron round by the Store of the World area doing his usual crash through the undergrowth. He's also put a film up of filmed at Morton in the Marsh Station, that's right, where he's standing there on the bridge in the freezing cold, he says, but it's better than brambles and blackthorn. Yeah, good. Grumpy old man, our Jim from Tennessee, all the way from Tennessee. Wonderful seaside walk amidst the historic relics. At one point I believe I could smell the salt air. Ah, lovely. Yeah, good. Rodney, our Rodney Masters. He says, good morning. Just added your walk to our agenda for when we stay in Rock, that's across the estuary from Padstow, for 10 days just before Christmas. You lucky devil. Wow. He said, we'll also research your film club back catalogue. Yeah, well that's the old Cornwall thing, just Cornwall thing again. Trev. Yeah, right guys. We need your help on this one. Good afternoon, he says. Thank you for today's vlog and video. Studio 2 because Studio 1 is cold and there's condensation, eh? He said, I think those awful people who fly their noisy planes around you is more like it. Converting Studio 1 to an anti-aircraft battery could be the answer. Yes, it could indeed. But, perhaps, as a member of the Parkinsons family, I could have special dispensation and get advance warning of when you're manning the guns. Yeah, what do you reckon, team? Special dispensation? It'll only encourage him, that's the problem. You know what Trev's like. And then Trev says that the Padstow area and the railway around there, up outside the Camel Trail, he's not that familiar with. I knew we had to find a corner of England sooner or later that he wasn't familiar with, but that hasn't stopped him from giving us a potted history. If you're planning to go down that area at all, I suggest that you go and you download this and print it out because it'll help you understand the layouts in the area. That's railways, as far as railways are concerned. Yeah, thanks for that, Trev. Brilliant. Donny is a bit of a Cornwall fan. Beautiful Cornwall, lovely walk. I've been along the path at the start, but only as far as the church. I'll have to saddle up Shanks' pony to get out there and view Pentar Head. Thanks for taking us along just to have a point. Pentar Head. I've asked my family to scatter my ashes on there when the time comes. Oh, good. Jim Nichols. Jim. Excuse me. From New Zealand. A lot of interest there, Ron. Just after the 23-minute mark, there were a couple of bits of track that looked perilously close to falling down the cliff. I bet if you went back now you'd find they've had to make a diversion. Nothing lasts forever. Yeah, they're frequently having to move that path back, well, all around the coast of Cornwall because it gets a heck of a battering from the Atlantic. And so, yes, occasionally they move a pathway back inland a bit. I suppose they have to buy a bit more land. Yeah. David. David from Spain. Morning, David. I had a quick look to try and find the name of the island. In the end I pulled out my ordnance survey map and I think it could be Newland. My AA book says the same. What do you think? Yeah, it is actually, in fact, it is Newland. But of course during the holiday season the skippers will rename a lot of these islands, Puffin Island or Seal Island or whatever, in order to make them attractive to our local tourists. Yeah. The entry for Padstow tells me that the stretch of sand you crossed is called the Doom Bar. Yeah, when you've got high water there, it looks like you could sail straight up the estuary, but you can't because of that big sandy bar stuck across there. And there are literally, I think, hundreds of wrecks have been drawn onto the sand and then swallowed. Nothing left. Yeah, oh well. Right, the film. Last week was another guest appearance from brother-in-law Mike on the Flying Scotsman, and that one went down well. Jim Nichols. Again, our Jim then. The Bluebell Railway is a wonderful organisation and has grown enormously since I first visited it many years ago. Yeah, many years ago, Jim. I didn't know I had been lucky enough to enjoy a visit from the Flying Scotsman, but it's a sign of just how important the railway has become. True, yeah, I imagine you can't just order it up and have it arrive anywhere. You've got to be vetted first, and the Bluebell passes every test. Yeah, good. So I hope Mike and his wife had time to enjoy their breakfast before the journey ended. I'm sure they did, but if not, you always get a doggy bag, can't you? Yeah. Now, Charles Patterson says it's a beautiful machine and a right proper locomotive. The British steam locomotives are truly a sight to behold. Thank you to your brother-in-law Mike and his lovely wife. Now, quite a lot of people commented were on very much the same theme, saying thank you to Mike, and we all enjoyed his film. That included Paul from West Country Wanderings, Paul YM4MZ, Abandoned Railways Are On, and Michael Miller, all chipped in. We all thank Mike for his efforts. Now, Michael from Poland, delightful video. Pam and Mike looked lovely as they enjoyed their breakfast, and what a feast it was. I had a day's driving experience as my 50th birthday present on the Bluebell. Wow. A day I shall never forget. I bet you won't, Michael. Wow, driving on the Bluebell. Amazing. Malcolm Richardson. A lovely portrait of the Flying Scotsman, which I saw last year, passing slowly through Winchester Station. Wow. I hope they get those carriage windows clean before I visit again. Yeah, whatever it looks out the window or films out the window, you think they might just whip down the outsides and just give them a bit of a rub over, wouldn't you, really? Yeah, there you go. Must be some reason for it. Probably comes down to cost. Right. David from Spain. Again, big thanks to Mike and his wife for sharing this video. The sounds come over well. Great effort to get the station in the evening time and to have the Scotsman all to yourself. How many people can claim that? Yeah, well, of course, Mike volunteers on the railway, so not only does he get access to where you might not as an ordinary person get access, but he knows what's available and what isn't, so that's brilliant. David says it's a lovely engine and has such a long history. I know it's gone through many iterations and liveries. I wonder in the future if they will take off the smoke deflectors. They look very Germanic. Yeah, Trev made the same point really. It just didn't seem to suit it somehow. And I prefer the wheels when there's the same livery as the rest of the engine, the old apple green. There you go. Right, okay. Now we move into Film Club next then. In a few seconds, the old Film Club. And we're off down the Forest of Dean. They generally go down well, the forest. And we're looking for a stone quarry. As there's a stoneworks there, they've got to get their raw material from somewhere. So it starts off a bit loud, this one, because of the background noise, but it does sort itself out. So we're going on a quarry hunt. Now, next week's film is a return to Evesham. When I filmed Evesham and the railway there, which went from Ashchurch to Barnet Green, the Tewkesbury section of it, and I managed to film the buttress of the old bridge, and a lot of people said, well, the other side is available as well. It's there. You can't see much of it from the side that I filmed from, but I thought, well, yeah, I'll go and see if I can find it. And so that film will detail my efforts to find the other buttress on the other side of the river, see what I mean, the River Avon. Right, so we'll arrive at Evesham. We'll all gather there. You're going to need your virtual walking boots for this one, I'm afraid. It's a bit muddy round about, so make sure you bring them with you, or your wellies. And I'll see you at Evesham next Friday, and don't be late. Middle of June 2015. The noise you hear in the background is the old stone mill. And this is the car park that I generally use outside the stone mill. I've started to wonder where their raw material comes from. There's an old quarry out the back there. We'll perhaps take a look, see what we can see. They need to improve their car parking skills down here. Start off up here then. A possible shortcut. That's interesting, look. Here you can see the old tramway sets. I guess that proves we're heading in the right direction. There has to be a sizable quarry up here somewhere for that sort of investment. And here's something that you don't very often see. You've got the tramway set on that side and that side, which will give you the gauge of the railway. We often see one, but you don't very often see both for some reason. Okay, that's the road that we shortcutted, and then over the road you can see the tramway sets following on up. Right, a clearing. Which way now? The building's in this direction. Perhaps we'll have a look. And all that remains to do. Right, another bridge gets us to where we want to get to. Onward. Aha. I don't think that's the main one anyway. There are some huge spoil heaps here from something. So I reckon we've got some distance to go yet. And the tramway has the same idea. We're a shadow for company today. On the side of the track here, over to the left, if you look carefully, there's some concrete being poured against corrugated iron. So this area has some significance. Can't see what just yet. A large hole in the ground. A mine then. In fact, this area is littered with the mines. Some horizontal and some vertical. Must have been chasing a seam, I guess. Hard to see that as a mine at all. And ever onward. Still on track, or tramway anyway. I've never seen such a collection of tramway sets. Amazing. Oh, this one here I reckon must have been loose because it's chattered its way into the actual stone. And the path continues. Tall forest all around, as you can see. It's very hard to judge distances here because it's quite narrow. But that has to be a mile. Has to be. And we're not done yet, which made it quite a drag getting the empty carriages up here. But can you imagine if you lost control of a laden truck on the way down? I think that could be catastrophic. Don't know of any records of it, but I suppose it's not something you'd boast about. And still we go on. Okay, there's a set there and another one there, but farther up they're getting a bit sparse, whereas the main track has been built up and graded, if you like, with large stones. So something changing here. Okay, we're back in business. Into a woody section. Some signs of stoneworking. Some huge boulders being left on the side. We need to try and pick up the tramway again. I walked on a little bit around the edge of this spoil, which it goes on and goes on and goes on, so I think we need more height. And so we're still on the tramway alignment, although there's not any evidence at the moment. Oh, there's a sound of machinery and evidence of a large hole in the ground, but not really distinct at the moment. Need more height, I think. So from that we can see where we're going to get to. And we're picking up the tramway alignment again, although it appears to have gone missing. Oh, I don't know if you'll see this, but there's a very large hole off to our left. The quarry we're looking at is on the right. So the tramway could have been servicing this one, of course. Here on the side of the track is an old hut, as you can see. I don't know what they were doing in there, but it used an awful lot of power. An open area and the sound of machinery. We're getting close. Well, I can't find any more tramway sets. I've had a look around, but this is almost certainly where they position the crane for getting the stone out of the quarry, which is just beyond the fence there. And the fence has been strung with some old cabling, some of it quite massive. So, they're not going to want us in there then. So now we have to try and get an alternative route. Well, I really would love to look down into that quarry. because I think it's absolutely massive. I think the problem is these days, health and safety and all that, they're not keen on allowing you access. But anyway, we've got to circumnavigate it to head back for home, so we live in hope. You keep getting tempting glimpses of it through the trees, through the undergrowth, but as yet no sign of any access. Mind you, it is a very, very pretty path. Oh, I think someone or something has been through here. It's looking like something. Boar, I should think. Brilliant. We fought our way through the undergrowth to here, only to find we've peaked too soon. This is just their storage area. Well, this path is starting to drop now. Not a good sign. I've had a few forays off to the side, but it's mostly impenetrable. Oh, it is impenetrable. So I'm going to have to give this one best. Well, they don't mean us though, do they? Right, well, there it is. Not as dramatic as the old one, to be honest. But, well, beggars, choosers and all that. I'm not sure we're supposed to be here. Don't make any noise. Actually, it's suspiciously quiet. Right, time to go, I think. That's been ground up pretty fine. Oh, you'll get me into trouble doing these things. That was their lunch break. So they've all gone off to their little lunch hut. It meant for a moment or two we were safe. Wonderful foxgloves. Digitalis if you prefer. Another one of these. This part of the forest is absolutely littered with these. Old mine workings. Well, I had envisaged sitting on top of the quarry while I had my lunch, looking for peregrine falcons and the like. But as you can see, they're not very welcoming. So, second best option. Sit in the middle of the clearing. Good walk. All I've got to do now is find my way home. I have had to resort to the compass. More or less south is what we're looking for. But we'll get there somehow or other. Meanwhile, guess what? Cheese and pickle. You're right. The issue down here is that these paths can subtly change direction without you really noticing, and all you can see is trees, so you don't have any reference point to keep yourself on track. Better to be safe. Here's a happy fellow. Clearing. That way. And then walking through here can be interesting. Path is slightly indistinct. We're in roughly the right direction. Now I can now hear the stoneworks. So that's acting like a beacon, providing it's not the sound rattling around in the woods. Something of interest. Another quarry. looking down and looking back. Pretty in both directions. Well, there is a better defined trail, just to there. I can see an even better one ahead, and this is pretty. We'll stay where we are, which is on this nice little track here, which then brings us out here. Stonework sounds quite near, and I know where we are, because that's the path we went in on this morning. Well, that was a nice adventure, sort of. Started out as a search for a quarry, and then turned into a tramway odyssey. We found our quarry. So, hope you enjoyed that. If you did, join me on the next one. Now, just a minute. Having got home and studied the map, I noticed there's another quarry up here that I must have walked past. So in the interest of completeness, I've come back and have a look. It's up near the top again, so you've just come back from there. So you go on ahead and wait for me. I'll catch you up. Ooh. Well, that's a fair old climb up there. There were boar either side. You could hear them all grunting and snuffling, so I've been coming up banging stones. Seemed to have worked. Right, so here we are at the top again then. That's the quarry that we looked at last. Another one over there somewhere, and possibly one in front. Have a look. These huge stones have all been put in place to denote a boundary. Absolutely massive. Has to be a stoneworks and a quarry. Wow. Come and have a look at this. Now that's what you call a boundary. The size of these things. Absolutely massive. And down there is the quarry that it's protecting. Obviously disused now. Don't know if we can get any better shots or not, to be honest. Well, this is nearly the whole way round it, and there isn't any access, but I think if you look down there, it's into the old quarry. There's obviously no access, there are no paths or anything, no sign of anybody getting in there. So it's probably best just leave the wildlife to their own. Nice quarry though. So we'll go off in search of another one. This is rather grand, isn't it? The machinery you can hear working is from the quarry that we've already visited. Rather noisy. So we'll head off up here, see what we can find. That's the area where I heard the boar, so make lots of noise. And if you could clap or shout or stamp your feet or something, that would help. I believe I just said that. out through there is what we're making for, which is a service road. But this crossroads here goes in about the same direction. That looks a lot prettier, so we'll give this a go. This part of the trail here very open, so no worries, threats from boar. But the path to get to the summit here is, as you know, very enclosed. Doesn't leave you with many options. Here you've got plenty of trees you can shin up if necessary. This path is starting to drop. Don't want that yet. Oh, let's have a look along here, see if we pick up the service road now, I think. There we go. Now I have to wait till this goes into a big curve, and that's our cue to start looking for the next mine. Now, I heard somebody working it on the way up. Of course, it's a lunch break now, so that crew's gone, so we'll find out. Well, I've been tramping now for 3/4 of an hour, assuming 4 miles an hour, that's 3 miles, and that is too far. So somehow we're off track. Don't quite know how, because there was only one service road, so I can't see how that went astray, but obviously it has. And we've reached the feature, which is an RSPB site. Using my old map, that could be slightly difficult, but hopefully that'll help us sort out where we are and when we can get on from there. Well, we're at the Nag's Head Nature Reserve, Nag's Head Hill. We should be up there, so we've come a bit too far. A little bit of backtracking needed. Company at last. He's not staying with us though. So one of those strange things. Well, that's a pain. It happens, especially down here. One tree looks much the same as the other. That's just nice to be out. Haven't been out much lately. It's house selling season, so I've had other things to worry about. However, we're out today. Very still day. Just about mid-August. And it's rather pleasant. Glad you could join me. This is the only thing resembling a track which goes in roughly the right direction. Give this a shot. And crossroads, or T-junction. Not very helpful. I'm going to try this one for a little way. Help that the rooks around here make sort of grunty noises. Right. And wire fence. That'll be something useful. Quarry disused. That's what it says on the map. Well, a hole in the defences here. Back and beyond. And now look at that. Then right at the back is a very big stone face. You can hear that other mine working well, can't you? Hear the quarry. And it goes on, it goes on, it goes on. Right, you get the idea.
quarry disused. Well, aesthetically I don't think I'll better this spot for having lunch. I don't know about peace and quiet. I think they've probably got the stone crusher working out there now. Sounds like it. But never mind, lunch it is. Cheese and pickle. Well, all we've got to do now is find our way out, find our way home. And now that we think we know where we are, it should be relatively straightforward. Walk away from this lot of noise and towards the stoneworks, the second lot of noise, simples. Right, well, there are the culprits then. And they're right over there. Now the Air Force has decided to join in with the noise. This little valley, little lead, it's very narrow. Must have run out of stone. Along here. And you can just make out the valley there. That's the one that we walked up along there. And then just off to the side here again, there's another hole in the ground, described as a mine. I'm not sure where the pit head is, so I ain't gone any farther. Well, maybe just a little bit. And it's all very pretty. Another quarry through the trees. I think I heard this one working on the way up. All quiet now though. Closer look. And that's the face they're working at. Chiseling out a living. Some stocks. Blessed aeroplanes now. And you can see there how the hillside gets eaten away. One day it'll all be gone. Well, we bumped into the nature reserve again, but we're not going that way because this looks shorter. And talking of shorter, we must have some pretty small people to get through these gates. Anyway, we're heading off down there. Well, this place has been ravished by man over time, hasn't it? Another scar on the landscape there, and if you look very closely, there, take a bit of getting to, and there's what looks for all the world like a doorway. In fact, if you look carefully, they've actually exposed an old mine. There's the entrance at the top there, look, just below the tree line. And that goes down then to that doorway, which is in fact a gallery, which no doubt then goes in for hundreds of feet. Fascinating. The stoneworks, so home. I really enjoyed that, albeit it was very noisy, but out in the forest, a nice still day, that was beautiful, really enjoyed it. And of course we found the objective. But then of course I wouldn't have filmed it if we hadn't, would I? I'd have ditched the film. And now I really am going home. This time I'm staying.